this time, okay, you need to know what is the size of your population. Okay, so for example, if you're focusing on COB students, you need to know how many thousands of COB students are in total. Okay, and the breakdown of the students according to the school. Okay, so and then you need to decide how many respondents that you want to collect, okay, based on the size of your population, and preferably you need to get the respondent to represent each of the school lah, based on the size of each school under the COB. Okay, so okay, so even though you are going to use, for example, Google Form, okay, but when you submit in your report, okay, do not submit in this format, meaning that you need to submit according to format like this, you know, not in the format of how you want to, how it appear in your Google Form. So prepare your questionnaire in Microsoft Word first, okay, before you send it to the, or transfer it into Google Form, okay, or Google Doc lah, Google Form. Okay, so for group 1, I think, so you are focusing on COB, right? So all of the six different school under COB. Okay, cuma the income source here, okay, you need to add a bit more on the income source, because I think not only PTPTN and GPA, you have MARA and others different scholarships. Okay, so I'm not sure how you come out with part-time job here. So okay, when you mention about income, okay, so income, this is not income. I mean, for student, you don't consider this PTPTN, GPA as your income. Okay, it's just it's not the because income usually you get from your work, from your employment. Okay, money that you receive from scholarship is not considered your income lah. Okay, so so you need to modify some of these components here. Okay, so the focus is on during COVID-19. Okay, 1 month 6 to 5 times. So okay, group 1, siapa sini group 1 sini? Ui, Chia, Chiu, Eng, and Liu. Mana group 1?
Ya, Doctor.
Okay, so these questions you create on your own ke ataupun based on past punya thesis or journal? This frequency here, 1 to 5 times, 6 to 10 times ni.
Yang ini create sendiri.
Nah, kenapa you all create sendiri?
Kan yang question 6 ini.
Aha. Yeah, I mean, so from previous thesis tak ada ke contoh how many in term of the frequency tu?
Tak jumpa lagi.
Takkan tak ada kot. This is a very common question, the frequency on the use, I mean, purchasing online, you know, because the frequency you cannot simply create like, you know, 1 to 5 times, never, you know, you must get the frequency punya value to correct lah, because I think, because when you mention 1 month, okay, 1 month, so I mean, this apply to all groups lah, you know, that's why I'm reminding all groups from the very early semester. Okay, find topic that you can use, that you can get samples of questionnaire from previous study, especially if you're doing a very common topic like you know, purchasing online, whatever topic lah that you guys propose. Okay, so the frequency like this, when you create 1 to 5 times, from never suddenly jump to 1 to 5 times, you know, and why you choose in 1 month, okay, not let's say in 1 week, or so see how you can improve on these frequency things, and then how much average spending on online purchase platform. So because you need to specify, you know, when you mention online purchase, are you referring to purchase of what? Purchase of you know, because the focus of your study is quite general, okay, online purchase. So it can be purchase of what, you know, purchase of barang-barang, you know, cosmetic ke, or daily products ke, daily, you know, because you need to at least have some questions on what kind of items do you actually purchase online? You know, the breakdown of the common items where you can choose more than one box, you know, barang like groceries or cosmetic or gadgets. Okay, so those components are, those type of questions are missing in your section A. So you need to include them so that it's easier for you, for the respondent to actually determine how much you actually spend on 1 month, because sometimes you might spend more, sometimes you might spend less, but since you are asking on average, okay, so you need to have questions on the breakdown of the what are the common items that you usually shop online. Okay, so for the rest, I think cuma that there is no question. I mean, there is very little questions on COVID-19. Okay, I think just you have one question here. Okay, even the language used, you need to okay, you need to check lah. In English, I think I spend SPENT. Okay, not past tense lah. Okay, so how many questions are you referring to COVID-19? 2 questions. Group 1. So, for example, question 19, information leaking. So, I'm not sure what COVID-19 got to do with information leaking during COVID-19. Yang ni pun you all cipta sendiri ya. Soalan 19 ni.
Yeah.
See? I mean, you cannot create questions. That's the thing. When you design question, and when you create questions, you want to extend, you want to relate to COVID-19. You know, you must. The best is to use existing questions. Okay, I'm sure there are plenty of materials. COVID is already sudah masuk tahun kedua dah. It's already 2 years, you know, the event of COVID-19. So there are plenty of materials out there, okay, that you can see how you can construct your question according to that can suit the COVID-19 punya issue. But I don't see the rationale how COVID-19 will has any you know, any leakage and any correlation with having COVID-19. Your information will leak more compared to without COVID-19. So this is the kind of question that need to be changed and drop and modify to other things lah. Okay. So okay, from all the questions, how many questions that you create on your own? How many that you derive from past study? Even this one, I like online shopping during COVID-19. It's not during COVID-19. It's you shopping. You do shopping maybe when you are in lockdown, during, you know, because COVID-19 is just a virus. You don't shop during COVID-19. You know, you do shopping because of you cannot travel because of the lockdown. So nanti you all tunjuk balik dekat saya, send balik the revised question, how many actually are the one that you create on your own. Okay, because when you mention during COVID-19, it's not about the COVID-19 as a period, because if COVID-19 spends, you know, as another 3 years, 5 years from now, okay, but now COVID-19 is not the same as 6-7 months ago last year, where we have this lockdown period, people cannot travel anywhere. Now we are still in COVID-19, but we can do, you know, we can start doing the traveling and shopping, you know, go to Pasar Raya and Pasar Malam already. So you need to be more specific. You need to modify the questions, you know, in fact, the scope of your study during the lockdown punya phase ke, the Pasar 1 ke, I mean, I don't know, the PKP 1 or PKP 2. So as it is not, dia tak tepat lah. I mean, it's not accurate lah the way that you are asking during COVID-19, you know, and in the future. Okay, so I think my problem with many of the questionnaires is when you create the questions on your own, as I've been reminding all this while, jangan buat soalan sendiri unless, I mean, one or two questions is okay, but if the majority of the questions you construct on your own, that's where the problem will start lah, because at the end of the day, your question is supposed to answer your research question. But if the question does not, is not accurately presented, meaning that it does not match what you want to actually measure, then the question is the answer that you get cannot be used to answer your research questions and also your research objective lah. Okay, so that is for group 1 lah. Okay, for group 2, okay, in group 2 you all buat apa? Tajuk pun tak ada, kumpulan 2. What is your group 2 topic about? Dan Kuah, berapa ramai ni? Ada 6 orang ni. We are group 2. Group 2 mana? Seorang pun tak menyawat ni. Chan, Kuah, Leong, Chia, Jasmine, and
Thầy Dr. Leong from Group 2.
So your punya questionnaire tak ada cover dekat depan pun. There's no title and description. What is the questionnaire about? Saya pun tak tahu topik apa yang you buat for chapter 2 ni. For your, I mean, of course I need to go back to your proposal chapter 1. Okay, janganlah sampai nak buat tajuk pun tak ada. There's not even the title of your project. Suddenly you jump straight to chapter 2 here. There's no title here. Okay, and there's no description. What is this questionnaire about? Okay, so I think from here you are doing something on entrepreneurship intention. Okay, among saya pun tak tahu who are the focus group of your student pun, I don't know because it's not mentioned here, but from here I think it's for SAB student. So again, I think this question also you create on your own ke macam mana? This one I think you create on your own lah, on the background. Group 3. Personality traits. Okay, soalan-soalan macam ni, I mean personal attitude, okay, personality traits. So this question you get from which thesis? Come on lah, you all senyap tadi lagi, saya pun malas nak bincang macam ni. We are group 2. You got 6 members. Everyone seems so quiet. Mana Kuah, Leong, Chia, Jasmine, and tak ada. Semua dah hilang lah.
Hello, sir.
Kenapa you all nak kena tunggu 10 minit baru nak keluar suara? You all tidur ke apa?
Sorry, Doctor. Wi-Fi connection unstable just now.
Semua unstable.
For the section A, we create and then
Saya tak dengar. I mean, I cannot hear you. I mean, it's breaking. Yang lain-lain, where are your other group members? Group tu mana pergi yang lain? Jasmine and
Saya Jasmine.
Backup.
you all ni kau payah sangat nak bercakap ni.
Sudah.
Okay, because after this, I will not be discussing your questionnaire. You know, if your questionnaire remains the same, ada mistakes ke apa ke, and you use the questionnaire to do your data. I mean, as part of your data collection, and your questionnaire does not actually, you know, ada errors here and there, so it will affect your analysis. I mean, of course, you can run SPSS based on whatever that you ask, okay, but at the end of the day, if your questions contain so many problems or errors, okay, then it will affect your chapter 4 lah, punya component of the marks that you will get lah, because part of your marks, okay, will come from your questionnaire design, and also from that questionnaire is supposed to answer your research question. And finally, it will, okay, whatever that you present in your findings, okay, including your presentation, is based on what you actually designed. I mean, what you put in your questionnaire. So if your questionnaire is somewhat wrong or not accurately, you don't, the component of the question is not well written, is confusing, is misleading. So that's where the problem will start lah. That's why I keep on mentioning, don't create your own question, okay? Except maybe for few questions like for example like this, which semester or your CGPA. This one should be no problem, but mainly on your main questions, okay? So I'm not sure why you want to ask about personal attitude, you know, because you are focusing on entrepreneurship, entrepreneurial activity. So I was hoping questions on the business side, okay, but this is more on personality traits. You know, it got very little to do with our team. I mean, we are from SEAB, School of Finance, Economics, Banking, Agribusiness. So I was looking more question towards, you know, our school, meaning you should have more question that is related to our degree, you know, whether you are from economics, finance, or banking, something to do with finance, financial part, banking part, or your, you know, from this questionnaire, I think only section D is more related to, ini pun tak adalah banyak sangat lah. I'm able to create a business plan by myself. I know market research techniques to better understand the trends. I know how to finance a business. So, okay, by the way, where do you get this question from?
Doctor,
Group number 2?
Doctor,
Mm-hmm.
our objective is personal attitude, then personal traits and entrepreneurship knowledge. So we take the objective to become our topic in section A, section B, C, and doggy. So we want to change
This
to
question come from which thesis?
which thesis we get it at the past previous student one thesis. For the sample inside the drive one. Then we modify it from the sample.
Okay, but you need to ni lah, ini saya tak faham ni. Did you have any business experience? So I put here, what you mean by experience? You know, how do you? Because when you ask certain, when you add few questions here and there, but it does not actually, dia tak ada continuity. It has no, you know, like no continuation. You ask suddenly question number 4, and suddenly you ask about the family. Okay, because there is no mention about family here in the rest of the section. So whatever question that you want to ask, it must be some connection with the rest of the sections here. Okay. So when you put like yes or no question, like this one, okay. So what do you plan to do with this question? You know, when you ask a question like this, you know, do you have any business experience? So how do you measure business experience? Not just by yes or no. I mean, in terms of how many years like how many, I mean, I don't know if you put question like this, it's like soalan ni macam dia tak ada, how do you put just yes or no? Okay, how do you define business experience? Okay, so these are my questions. So you need to modify sections on this lah. Okay, so that is for group number 2 lah. Okay, for group 3, for same sama juga. Okay, group 3 also don't send me a question based on your Google form format. Okay, make sure this one is only for your own reference in Google format, in Google form style, but in your writing, okay, write or prepare in Microsoft Word style lah. Okay, so for group 2, for group 3, you are doing something on okay, intention to use food delivery. So why Universiti Malaya? Group 3?
Yes, because it's in the town. They use online food delivery service usually compared to you.
Okay, so you got access to how many what is the number of students registered in Universiti Malaya?
Sorry?
Do you have information how I mean the population of Universiti Malaya students?
Haven't got it from the portal.
Sorry?
Haven't got it from their portal.
So when do you plan to get the information from Universiti Malaya? Because you need to know what is the population size, okay, of the Universiti Malaya students. Then you can focus on Universiti Malaya. Because you need to know, I don't want to keep on reminding this to every time we have discussion, because whatever focus group, I mean, what is the focus of your project if you're doing on Universiti Malaya? So you need to know the population size of Universiti Malaya student. So that from there you can use the table, the Kretschmer Morgan table, to determine what is the minimum sample size that you need to distribute, okay, or to collect information. Okay, so without that, then your sample size becomes, I mean, you cannot determine what is the appropriate sample size lah. So where do you plan to get the information from? How many students are registered in Universiti Malaya? The current students. Group 3. Yeah. Kumpulan 3. What is your response to that? Takkan you dah nak masuk minggu yang ke-8 dah, takkan tak ada plan kot. How you plan to get that information from?
Plan to get from their website, their official website. Soon. Plan to get from their school official website soon.
Ada ke maklumat bilangan student yang terkini this current semester?
We have friends from there, then we can get from there.
Nanti tunjuk, nanti share. I mean, you need to share it with me lah, where you get the information from. I don't want you to simply create the number on your own.
Okay.
Okay, and then this question, are you a Muslim Malaya student? Yes, no. So if the student say no, then they cannot answer this question, is it? Monthly income. Student mana ada income? Okay, same like previous group. Okay, you cannot put monthly income among student. Income is when you are already employed. Then you can ask what is the income. Okay, student has no, I mean, unless, but if you only rely on your pocket money from PTPTN or JPA or any other scholarship, that is not your income. So sama lah, ni pun soalan you all buat sendiri kan?
For section A, we did edit. For section B questions, we use the past study from the senior.
Current residence, Universiti Malaya, home, other. So what is this question used for when you ask this question? Universiti Malaya, you know, they stay on campus, home, other. Okay, what do you have general information. Usually you only have one, which is the demography. Okay. And then general information, this is for what? Okay, these options ni pun you all create sendiri ke macam mana? Grab food, eat cake today, eat Asia food, Shopee food.
Got it from internet.
Sorry? No, I mean eat cake today ni dekat mana ada eat cake today ni?
Within Klang Valley area.
Ha?
Within Klang Valley area.
Asia food, Shopee food. Okay, for example, e-wallet, okay, you need to specify what is e-wallet that you are referring to, Touch and Go ke whatever lah. There are so many e-wallets, okay, options out there. Okay, suddenly you go straight to Likert question. Okay, you cannot have Likert and option like this combined into one section. Okay, Likert must stay with Likert questions alone. Okay, you cannot have combination of. That's why I'm very confused why you have this general question, because usually you don't put a separate section on usually you combine with the demography and general question. Okay, and suddenly you have these two Likert questions combined with the under the same section. Okay, and there is no question at all related to COVID-19. Okay, because your topic is supposed to be during COVID-19 pandemic. Okay, but all of the questions on section C onwards, tak ada pun on COVID-19. Okay, there is no questions that you ask related to COVID-19. I mean, for example, students are learning from home. Okay, but that's itu yang for me is a bit confusing, because many of the students are still studying from home. Okay, they are not even at Universiti Malaya. Maybe only a few, just like in UM. Only a few thousand, 2-3 ribu orang saja are in UM. The rest are all studying from home. Okay, so when you want to ask Universiti Malaya student, okay, are you only focusing on those who are actually on campus? Group 3.
Yes.
Yes tu apa?
It's mainly focused on those who are staying in campus.
But then you ask question, are you at home or at campus? So if the student are not at Universiti Malaya, so then the rest of the question is not relevant to them. So how do you want? So how do you plan to determine how many students are actually at Universiti Malaya right now? Okay, so these are the things that you need to think, because if your focus among Universiti Malaya students, because they are in the city, so they will be using the Grab food and the Food Panda services, assuming that they are at Universiti Malaya right now. But if they are not at Universiti Malaya, they are students of Universiti Malaya, but they are not staying at Universiti Malaya, so then the rest of the questions are not relevant to them. Okay, and then that goes back to my early question: how are you going to determine the number of students that are currently staying at Universiti Malaya right now? Okay, because if your focus is only students who are currently at Universiti Malaya, then your population will be the students who are actually at Universiti Malaya right now. So how are you going to determine or get that information from? Do you get my point? Group 3. Saya dengar seorang saja yang jawab, yang lain semua mana pergi? Hilang dah.
Doctor, if we focus on the UM students in campus and home, is it okay?
Itulah, I mean, you need to know what is your focus of the study. You cannot simply change both because if your focus, if your argument is because they are staying in the city, then they have access to Food Panda and whatnot. So what's the difference between Universiti Malaya and Universiti Utara Malaysia then? If you are focusing on students who are actually also staying at home, okay? So that's why you must go back to your chapter 1, to your objective. Are your focus actually for students who are in the city, in the town, because they can get more access? But if in UUM, you ask for Grab Food or Grab Food Panda, dia tak masuk pun dekat UUM pun. I mean, tak banyak lah because we are in Sintok kan. There are not many options for online delivery service. Okay, but if you're focused at Universiti Malaya, then the logical target group are students who are actually staying at Universiti Malaya lah. But if the student, let's say, live in Kelantan ke Terengganu ke, but they are Universiti Malaya student, then this question will not be relevant to them. Okay, so that's why, and then it goes back to my question lah. How are you going to determine if your focus is student living on campus? Okay, so how are you going to determine the information from? I mean, what is the population size of students who are currently on campus right now? Okay, so if your focus is anyone from Universiti Malaya, okay, then susah lah. I mean, in terms of those who are answering the questions, okay, online delivery saves times in finding parking. Okay, so online food delivery saves time in walking to the restaurant. So this question you get from where? From the thesis, is it? Or you all create sendiri je?
From the past study.
Huh?
From the past study.
All of the questions?
Yeah, for the section C and B.
Okay, but there are two major things lah. One, how do you relate to COVID-19? Because there is no question that is related to COVID-19. These questions are just general questions on online food delivery. Okay, but there is no relation to COVID-19 whatsoever lah. Because I don't find any question on COVID-19. I mean, people, assuming that you use online delivery service more during COVID-19 lockdown, during the PKP. Okay, you cannot travel, you cannot go out, then because of that okay, so it doesn't match the scope of your study. You are talking about the using delivery service during COVID-19 pandemic, okay, but there is no question at all on COVID-19. Okay, that's why I put here. Okay, so make sure you make the necessary adjustment lah, add questions related to COVID-19, and you need to think lah macam mana you nak modify the questions. Okay, if your focus is only student living on campus, okay, because you are talking about finding parking, meaning that you are living in town, okay, but so the respondents must be those who are staying on campus lah, or in the city. Then some of these questions are more relevant to them lah. But if you are targeting any student from Universiti Malaya, whether they are living in Kedah, Johor, Kelantan, Terengganu ke Perak ke, okay, then some of the questions become not relevant lah. Okay, because finding parking, like let's say if where I'm living in Kedah, there's no problem about parking. Okay, so some of the questions might not be relevant lah but so you need to think lah whether you want to focus on student dekat sana saja ke, okay, or anyone. But if any students, so I think why Universiti Malaya, okay, why not Universiti Utara Malaysia? Because if anyone from Universiti Malaya can answer and they are currently staying at home, so it makes no difference lah why you want to focus on Universiti Malaya sajalah. Okay, so that one you need to decide lah what you want to focus, and then some questions on monthly income. Okay, you cannot put income for student. Okay, so you need to mana yang tak, yalah, saya pun nak komen sesuatu pun you need to check lah from past year punya thesis or journal, see which question how do they construct questions when it comes to student. Income tu you get from thesis ke apa ke you all cipta sendiri income tu?
For that part, we created our own.
See, so you cannot create questions. Okay, for if your respondent are among students, you cannot put income. Okay, so that's why. Okay, yelah, gunalah.
Possible to change it to savings instead?
Sorry?
Can we change to savings instead of using monthly income?
No. Jangan, don't simply you want to do this, you want to change to this. You know that's why I keep on reminding you all the time. Okay, look at the simple of, because the topic that you are doing is very common. You know, about intention to use online service. So what you need to do is get the, if you only rely on one questionnaire, that's I think is a problem, because if you're focused among students, but that study is done for people, non-students, so you want to modify to suit students. Okay, then you need to find different questionnaire that is targeting on undergraduate students. See how, you may need to combine few questionnaires on different topics, but focusing on the same target group, for example, students, and see what are the questions that are relevant to be asked if the respondent are students. Okay, you cannot use the same questionnaire that is targeted for working people, but then you change them. You use the same question when your respondents are students, especially for the part A, for the demographic section. Okay, so jangan cipta soalan sendirilah. Okay, combine few questionnaires that you can find lah. Okay, group number 4. So you are doing on, kita ada 9 group. Okay, in the morning I only got 4 groups, so no problem. But for group A we have 9 groups, so I cannot spend too much time discussing every single group too long. Okay. Okay, group 4. You guys nak buat dekat lodging. So dah dapat dah maklumat ni. How many people live in lodging ni?
Yeah, we have get the population data.
Sorry?
We already get the population data.
That population is what for ini?
In lodging.
For what? For B40, is it?
No, we can't get the B40 data, so we decide to change a bit for our title.
So your focus is what?
Just in lodging, because the city is quite small. It's around 12K population only, so we just focus on lodging.
So yang ni soalan ni in-paid worker, mana ada istilah in-paid worker? Ni pun you all cipta sendiri Awak pelik ni, pengangguran, mana ada istilah pengangguran? Ni you all pakai Google Translate ke apa?
Ya.
Yang
English. The English one we take from the.
Come on lah, question on demography ni, I think there are hundreds of questionnaires that you can use from the Google Drive tu. Okay, don't simply create question, especially for demography. You can find examples very easily from past thesis. Okay, so when you put question like this, put option, it just show that you are not doing your revision enough. Okay, jangan ambil mudah lah benda-benda macam ni. Okay, because I think you have no excuse to put to use different terms. Okay, especially for demography, because they are, cukup banyak, a lot of examples that you can get, okay, from different theses, that when it comes to demography, okay, occupation wise, so many examples that you can use. But when I look at this, it just show that you just maybe spend a few minutes to goreng to create your own question. Okay, so the English or Malay version, make sure that you translate them correctly lah. Okay. Semasa COVID-19, adakah anda menghadapi pengangguran? Okay, you cannot say you menghadapi pengangguran. Ini semua you all translate sendiri pakai Google lah.
Translate sendiri.
Yang the one that you refer to past tadi, the English version, or both
Yeah,
English, Malay
English.
also you create on your own.
The refer is English.
The one that you refer to is in English version.
Yeah.
So how do you answer this question? Question 7 here. How are you facing reduced wages, or so just yes or no, is it?
Yes. Yeah. The answer is yes or no.
So what do you plan to so question 7 just stop at number 7. So if you reduce wages by how many percent, or facing unemployment, means that now you are unemployed. So if you're unemployed, how are you going to answer the next question, meaning that you have no income? So okay, question 6, 7, 8 ni you get from the same thesis ke ataupun you campur-campur saja?
The number 8 is not the same thesis.
Okay, so itulah masalah tu, bila you all combine, the flow is broken, because this question you ask about demography, okay, and then here you are asking whether you face unemployment, but this question is not. Suddenly you ask how often do you purchase food every week. So I don't know. So what is the relevance of this question to the previous one, and how do you actually measure how often? Meaning what, once, twice, 3 times? So if you buy food once, is it different than if you buy food twice, but you buy in a big quantity? You buy once a week, but you buy a lot, compared to you buy 2 times a week, but you buy half, beli sikit-sikit ke apa ke. So what how does it actually tell you that during COVID-19 and before COVID-19? Okay, so this question you need to change banyak apa tu, it's just confusing, because if you want to ask questions about food consumption behavior, okay, during COVID-19, so you must know how is the behavior before COVID-19, then you can see if there is any changes. Okay, but if you simply ask during COVID-19, how often do you purchase food every week? Okay, so even I myself, I only purchase maybe maybe even once every 2 weeks. Okay, but once a week or once, depending lah, but that does not mean that, okay, maybe I spend more, or even I spend the same, but just because we cannot go out the way that we normally do, so maybe we travel, or we buy more food lah, beli sekali tapi boleh bertahan untuk 2 minggu ke sebulan ke. Okay, so section B, C and D ni, okay, you don't combine B, C and D under one heading like this. Factor influence food consumption behavior during COVID-19. Okay, so the rest of the question nothing to do with COVID-19, is it? Soalan ni, you buy online. Why suddenly you got online punya soalan dekat sini?
They change their behavior to not going
Ini
to.
you artikel sendiri ke apa?
Tak, I take on the article.
I mean, all the same question. All questions belong to the same thesis, is it? Or you combine 2-3 thesis and put into one section?
I combine 2.
Macam mana? No, I mean, section B here, all the questions belong to the same thesis ke, ataupun you combine macam mana ke?
Not the same.
No, because suddenly here you have, I notice increase in food prices. Okay, because these questions, I don't know what, because dia nampak bercampur aduk, is like mixed questions. So some questions suddenly you have online purchase, and this one is about increase in food price. Okay, and here is about your financial hardship. Okay, this is about income. This is about price. This is about your income. This is about the frequency you go to the supermarket. So it doesn't belong to the same group. It's like you are mixing questions, you know, under one category. So dia tak ada coherence in the soalan. So again lah, that's the problem when you mix questions. Okay, it belongs to the different topic, but then it becomes bercampur aduk lah, because this one is about food consumption. Okay, but here you are talking about apa tu, food prices. Okay, about how frequent you go to the supermarket. Okay, eating habits. Again, here you got food purchase online, okay, which is similar to the previous question. Yang ni boost immune system pun saya tak faham. What do you mean by boosting your immune system? What kind of goods, foods that boost immune system? Orang kan tahu ke? Bukan makanan semua tu boleh boost immune system. Ini pun you all combine ke? Buat sendiri ke apa?
Tak, from the thesis.
Yelah, I mean, all these question belong to the same category ke, or you mixing 2-3 thesis into one section?
Same article.
Same article?
Ya.
Betul? Nanti share dekat saya artikel tu. Okay, I often cook at home. Because even your title pun is quite confusing. Eating habits change during COVID-19. Mana ada ayat eating habit change? Okay, this is broken dia punya English lah. Okay, saya pun. Yeah, the original is in Malay or in English? Spending habit change, eating habit change. Yang ni you buat sendiri ya tajuk ke? Macam mana?
Based on the objective.
Mana you all create sendirilah tajuk ni. Okay, so if the respondent is a Muslim, so how do they answer this question? Purchase in alcoholic beverage. Less than before? Tidak berubah? Much more than before? Okay, so I think most of the respondent, I think lodging banyak orang apa Muslim kumpulan 4, group 4. Okay, so question like, for example, like this may not be relevant lah or less relevant lah, according, based on the population of your target population. Pening saya nak komen setiap satu. Okay, so you need to ni lah improve lah on where I commented just now lah. Okay, on some of these questions. Okay, where you need to have more use options range maknanya julat lah. Okay, you put like options in box, not just simply how often. Okay, you need to put once, twice every week ke, or once a month ke, something like that. Okay, don't simply put an open-ended option like this. Okay, this is group 4. Okay, dalam 12.40 dah pun. I don't know whether I can finish all of these, the rest of the groups. Okay, group 5. Saya pun tak tahu. Okay, ini sebab online shopping intention pun sama jugalah. Okay, but this one is among SAB. Okay, so I put here modify frequency. Okay, frequency of online consumption. Once a month, suddenly once every 6 months, never bought online. So this frequency, I think you need to have more frequency lah. Once a week, once every 2 weeks. Okay, after once a month, suddenly once a year. Okay, but there's no other option in between. Okay, I think for these questions, I don't have much comment lah. I think because these are standard questions where you can get from the thesis. Okay, I will buy practical products. Practical product ni apa? Group 5? Mana group 5? Tan Chong Ti. Mana group? Kumpulan 5? Kumpulan 5 kan?
It's like the item is the quality of product is
Okay, yang ni soalan ni you all buat sendiri ke apa?
a few question create by ourselves.
Yang ni mesti you all buat sendiri kan? So I don't know what we mean by practical products, okay? Because you must, whatever question that you want to add, okay, modify, okay, maybe you understand what you want to ask, okay, but if you give the question to other people, I don't know what is practical products, okay? So apa tu? Yelah, mana yang there are some question which I think is not relevant lah, or you need to modify the wordings lah. Okay, the rest I think cuma ni lah the frequency on this part. Okay, so what maybe what I need from every group, okay, you resubmit your draft questionnaire and also provide together with the actual questionnaire where your thesis is based from, meaning where your questionnaire is based from. Okay, so for example, if section A you get from what thesis, okay, put that just okay, copy and provide together the file and just put reference. Okay, this question come from this thesis, so just cut and paste that section of that PDF file. Okay, so that I don't want you to create questions unless if you want to add 1 or 2 questions is okay, but not half of the questions you create on your own. Okay, because that's why I've been reminding every time during the class, don't come up with topic where you cannot find the materials online. Okay, choose a topic where it's easy for you to find examples of questionnaires. Okay, I've been reminding you since week number 2 or week number 3 already. Okay, so you don't have problems of creating questions on your own and then having problems to actually justify why the questions is whether the question is relevant or not. Okay, and then the language that you use is confusing or misleading. It's because those questions when you create on your own then dia akan jadi masalah lah. Okay, so group number 6, okay, do you have any income? Okay, yes, no. Again, this topic is about, ini pun sama, tak ada group 6, okay, no cover page. Okay, what topic this questionnaire is about. Okay, saya pun tak tahu topik apa ni. Group 6, your questionnaire is about what?
Connection consumption among EF student.
Among?
Group 6 is about telecommunication consumption among EM student.
Okay, so I put some comment here, add question how much you spend on data, internet. So okay, these questions pun you all ambil daripada mana? Pas tadi juga?
Create.
Cipta sendiri ya?
Ya.
Okay, so itu yang masalah tu. I purchase telecommunication product for my online distance learning. I consume more internet data for online slow in apa tadi? Slow in coverage of internet data. Apa ni? Okay, so you cannot find any example from past thesis yang bincang pasal this topic.
Yeah, we cannot find any research about this. Kita hanya jumpa yang berkaitan tentang
But why do you choose a topic where you cannot find any example of questionnaire? Okay, when I approve a topic, I assume that you already got a sample questionnaire where you can refer to. Okay, but when you choose a topic, okay, and then tak ada contoh pun, apa, meaning that you create all these questions on your own. Okay, itu yang saya tak berkenan tu. I purchase, mana ada orang beli wifi. Wifi is not that you purchase data. You don't purchase wifi. Wifi is just a system, a technique how you get access to internet. Okay, that's why all these questions I put question mark because you use broadband. Okay, in broadband you like Unify or Streamix, you subscribe to broadband service, TMNet or TM Unify or TM Streamix or any other Maxis broadband or DG broadband, and then you access the internet using Wi-Fi lah. Okay, but you don't purchase Wi-Fi. Okay, so okay, itu masalah saya lah. Saya pun tak faham kenapa you all payah sangat nak cari topik yang memang orang dah buat. Why you have to resort to a topic that nobody has done before? And then you end up creating questions from scratch.
Sebenarnya doktor, kami propose hari tu tajuk lain. Lepas tu doktor suruh ambil tajuk ni sebab tajuk kami propose bahasa Melayu itu.
Saya bagi tajuk ni sebab apa tu, whatever topic that you propose, I assume that you have example of questionnaires for you to refer to. Okay, for whatever that you propose, I think that the first one that I reject maybe is not relevant to economics. Saya pun tak ingat lah apa yang you all propose the first time tu. Okay, but when you propose another topic, I assume that you have example of thesis lah that you can refer to.
So
bila kamu tak ada contoh, and then you create everything from zero, and then you end up menggoreng soalan-soalan tu. Okay, I need to have 2 mobile. So what is the relevance of 2 mobile internet plan? Why not 3? Why not 4? Okay, if the person not tak ada 2 ke tak ada 3 ke apa ke, because you are creating question based on your own experience, okay, not based on literature. That's why when we create question, it must be based on literature, past studies, based on theory, based on other people's punya journal, punya work. What are the common question that people ask? Okay, so that's why we call it academic study. Okay, you ask question based on the theory, based on past study lah. You use question based on Mr. A, Mr. B, Mr. C questions from journal A, journal B, thesis A, thesis B. Okay, you don't create all the questions on your own based on your own experience as a student. Okay, but because when I look all these questions is based on your own experience lah as a student when you are learning online during this COVID-19 learning from home.
Yeah, betul.
Okay, a lot of study purpose need to use data internet to find information or to do work. Okay, so these are like your own personal experience lah kan?
Yeah, betul.
Okay, but what I mean, none of these questions actually you can actually go back to the theory, to the chapter 2. Okay, when you talk about online distance learning, okay, what are the challenges ke, what are the theory ke apa benda that you discuss here, okay, in your chapter number 2. Okay, the theory of even the theory that this theory pun saya pun tak tahu apa benda yang why you put theory of consumption here. There's not even theory here. You put theory of demand. Okay, which you're talking about online online product, mobile data punya product. Okay, so we're talking about online learning. Okay, so all of these questions, the study that you are focusing on online study, those must be reflected in your questionnaire. Okay, so and I think none of the questions actually you took from or you based on past study that you mentioned in your chapter 2. Okay, soalan yang kita tanya ni dia bukan soalan based on your own. Maybe one or two questions, yes, you can add. Okay, on top of the existing question. Let's say you want like the question that you get from past study, there are 5 questions, and you want to add another 2 questions, 6 and 7, based on your own personal experience. Yes, maybe you can add a bit more, as long as it is still in the same context or the same category, ada continuation. Okay lah, you want to add 1 or 2 questions. I even mentioned, I think before the semester break, okay, you can add 1 or 2 questions from according to COVID-19 ke whatever. But the rest of the question must be based on past study. You cannot create from A to Z all questions on your own. Okay, so whatever topic that you propose, the responsibility is on your own group lah to actually suggest a topic where you can actually find past study, past thesis, past journals where you can get the question from. Okay, so again, you all kena carilah soalan-soalan from resubmit every group lah. Okay, resubmit your question and tunjukkan juga kat saya lah where you get the questions from. Okay, I do not want. I've been reminding you all since week number 2, number 3. Okay, jangan buat soalan sendiri. Don't create your own question. Use existing question. If you want to add 1 or 2 question, is okay. Okay, so that we don't have this problem of you creating question with all the incorrect terms, misleading sentences. Okay, because you all tak dengar lah apa yang saya duk pesan daripada awal semester lagi. Okay, tu yang banyak masalah tu. Same with group number 7 lah. Okay, the course of study business related, non-business related. I don't know what you mean by this. Okay, and then you are asking about income. Student mana ada income? Again lah, this is about student. Okay, so you don't ask about income among student. Okay, student has no income except scholarship money lah. Okay, and then there is no question on COVID-19 at all to get the same as other group. Okay, so you need to and you talk about investing your money. Okay, financial literacy. I have better sense of how administrate my credit use. Okay, you all mana ada kad kredit student. Okay, so financial during retirement. You all sedar tak kumpulan 7 mana? Where are group number 7? Group 7, Karen, Lee, Harjina, Gan and Kiran. Mana?
Yes, sir.
You all punya soalan ni mana ada sesuai dengan student, retirement, okay, better sense of financial instrument, loan, shares. These are not meant for student punya group. Okay, if you are asking working people, employed people, yes, that's why the study that you are referring to, that's why you need to understand the context. Do not simply copy and paste without looking at who are the respondents of the thesis or the journal that you are referring to. Student mana ada about investing the money, using credit card, retirement. Belajar pun tak habis lagi, degree pun tak dapat lagi. How you want to talk about okay, money management? You record because you don't have income. Okay, okay. So these questions are almost, I think, not relevant lah to the scope of your population. You are focusing on UM student. Okay, again lah, you don't ask question about income. Okay, student mana ada income sampai monthly income 1,000 sebulan. You get for one semester only for a few hundred ringgit only. You can divide monthly, but that is not income. Okay, whatever money that you have, okay, you cannot put that as question on income lah. Okay, so okay, so question on online transaction, I think tak ada banyak masalah because I think this is from general questions. Okay, but again lah, there is no questions on COVID-19. Okay, you are talking about COVID-19 punya topik. Okay, intention of saving and spending behavior, but where are the COVID-19 punya questions? Group 7? Oh, group 7. Mana you all? Group 7, hilang dah.
Sini.
Mana soalan on COVID-19? Tak ada kan? Okay, so make sure you kenapa you all tak ada langsung, so, because your topic is about COVID-19. So whatever questions that you want to ask, at least 1 or 2 questions on each section lah must be related to COVID-19 lah. Okay. So yang ni group 8, okay. So Kelang SME ni you all dah dapat dah senarai. How many SME are in Kelang, Selangor? Group 8, mana group 8?
Yes.
You all dah dapat dah senarai all the SME in Kelang, Selangor.
Yes, but also we got the population in Kelang.
Macam mana?
We got the number and SME and also the
You all dapat daripada mana? Senarai
population
SME di Kelang tu?
kat website. Ada satu
Okay,
website
but you all
statement
tahu tak,
daripada
you all punya scope ni bukan SME, you all tanya penggerai pasar malam, food court, yang berniaga kat tepi jalan tu, itu bukannya SME. In your category is kedai yang berdaftar dengan macam ada kedai runcit. Okay, but these are not the focus of your study. Okay, so you all questionnaire yang you all guna pakai ni bukan untuk SME ini small and medium enterprise. People like berniaga yang ada kedai premis kedai runcit, kedai medium, but your focus is mainly on peniaga food court, di pasar malam, di gerai-gerai tepi jalan. Okay, so whether the list of the SME that you get from the authority tu, is it relevant to the questionnaire that you are using? Yang ni kan, you all tanya ni apa meniaga pagi, petang, malam, pukul berapa, jumlah aset, semua ni. Okay. So yang ni ada kaitan dengan SME ke yang you all pakai tu? Yang you all nak fokus tu SME tu? Kumpulan ni kumpulan apa? Kumpulan 8. Okay, kena tengoklah you all punya, because you are targeting on SME, but your questionnaire is not meant for SME, it's more for the small scale traders, penggerai tepi jalan, pasar malam. Okay, itu bukan SME in the real sense. SME ni orang yang ada modal puluh-puluh ribu, ada kedai runcit, okay, kedai-kedai dekat premis, the shop lots. Okay, those are SMEs. Okay, but pasar malam traders, night market punya traders, those are not SMEs. Okay, so you need to modify the scope of your study lah, okay, and see, and you need to know lah, kalau if you change the target group, okay, so how do you determine the size of the population in Kelang lah, those who are berniaga kat pasar malam semua tu. Okay, so you need, because this questionnaire is meant for the apa tu, penggerai tepi jalan, as what you mentioned here lah, type of premise, food court, farmers market, night market, government reserve land. Okay, so these are not shop owners yang ada kedai runcit semua tu. Okay, ini peniaga-peniaga. So you need to know, you need to modify lah the scope of your study tu lah. Okay, for group 8 and finally group 9. Okay, so group 9 you are doing on apa dia? Lupa dah. Group 9 you all buat tentang apa? Household expenditure, COVID-19 situation in Petaling. So Petaling ni apa tu, you dah dapat dah jumlah populasi Petaling Selangor?
Dapat, sir.
You all fokus apa? B40 ke apa? Ke semua sekali? B40, M40, T20 semua?
Household dekat Petaling untuk semua kategori.
So this questionnaire you all dapat daripada mana?
Daripada PAS tesis.
Memang tentang COVID-19 juga?
Kami ubah lah, sir. Ubah ikut tajuk.
Ikut
macam dia relate dengan tajuk kami lah.
Kenapa tiba-tiba ada PT-PTN kat sini? You all kata household. Household ni orang yang dah bekerja, orang yang dah bekerja, tak kisahlah kerja apa pun. Tiba-tiba ada PT-PTN pula dekat sini. Hutang PT-PTN pula. Okay. Cuma yang my issue is you all ada yes no question and suddenly you also ada Likert scale. Okay. So yes no. So how do you actually analyze? Yes no ni you cannot actually analyze in term of nanti bila you nak buat analysis like you know, gunakan ANOVA ke whatever lah, hypothesis testing. Okay, you cannot use the yes or no question to analyze. Okay, because that is just so you need to see lah how you can actually change questions apa yes no ni into the Likert scale lah, but tak boleh simply tukar saja, kena tengok kesesuaian lah. Okay, because yes no question you cannot actually, there's not much you can do if the question is based on yes no. Okay, not much analysis you can obtain lah. Okay, if you just rely on yes no punya question. Okay, so refer or rely more on COVID-19 punya ni lah. Okay, so dah pukul 1 dah. Okay, so for the rest, for all groups, okay, so when you resubmit your revised questionnaire, okay, submit yang proper punya version lah, meaning put in Microsoft Word, okay, put the title description, okay, the background of your what is the questionnaire for, okay, and then something like this lah jugalah, okay. Kalau you all tengok mana-mana thesis yang saya share dalam Google Drive tu, there are plenty of format or thesis or questionnaire format where you can see what is the proper, how is the best way to present your questionnaire. Okay, and for example, if you take this section, okay, from let's say thesis number 45, so screenshot or cut and paste that questionnaire or just mention this part is from which thesis, put in the same Microsoft Word file lah, so that I know that those questions you all tak cipta sendiri lah. Okay, if you want to add 1 or 2 questions, is okay. Okay, but make sure that those questions, the way you write the questions, menggunakan kaedah ataupun language style which is very common where you can find in other thesis lah. Okay, so the same goes with other question lah in your section A, section B, section C. Okay, I want most of the question, 90% of the question must come from existing study. Okay, as what I mentioned before. Okay, if you want to focus on student, student or if the focus of your thesis, the project is on student, but your study that you refer to are not students, then you need to see lah whether the questions that you want to use, is it relevant for student or not. Okay, so I mentioned, you all dah nampak tadi lah, ada some groups, okay, the question is not meant for student because the question is more for employed or working people. So even though the topic is the same, but because the focus respondent is different, so you may need to modify, or you cannot even use some of the questions. Okay, so you need to find study that focus on undergraduate students and see how the questions are being asked in the questionnaire, so that if you want to modify the questions, make sure that the questions are suitable, okay, when the respondents are among students. Okay, so for example, question on income, okay, you cannot ask income among student. It is not correct. Okay, student tak ada income. I mean, you cannot ask top question how much do you earn. Okay, of course you mana ada bekerja lagi. Okay, your PTPTN tu is not your income. Okay, so those kind of things lah. Okay, you cannot simply ask question, put questions directly as what you see in other studies. You must depend on, for example, topic group number 9. Okay, if you're focusing on household, then you can ask income lah. Okay, but if you're focusing on student, you cannot ask question related to income. Okay, even though the tajuk is similar, okay, but the respondent are different groups, then you need to modify accordingly lah, or you cannot even use certain questions, okay, because it will just be wrong to ask questions that is not relevant to students. Okay, so okay, I will notify you all bila nak kena hantar balik yang revise, but I will not be commenting again lah. Okay, because the next class we will just focus straight on the SPSS application, and then you need to determine how you need to use your questionnaire in order to use the technique that I will show you what you need to do in the SPSS as part of your chapter 4 punya requirement. Okay, so okay, thank you. Assalamualaikum and good afternoon.